Goodbye, Mama,
Mary called, leaning from the stagecoach.
I'll write often. Poor Mama,
Mary said to her sisters Annie and Lexi.
She'll miss us. Will she be okay?
Lexi asked.
We're going so far away.
Mary hugged Lexi.
Don't worry. Mama will be fine. She's strong and she knows we're going to do important work.
A smile lit up Mary's face as she thought about what lay ahead.
At last, a school for children in the bush,
she said.
I'm so glad you are both with me. We'll have such fun.
Fun?
Annie shook her head.
I'm not sure teaching is fun, but it's an important job and we'll do it together.
At last the sisters arrived at Penola in South Australia. Mary's friend, Father Woods, greeted them.
Welcome,
he said.
I'm so pleased you've come. It's such a shame to see any of God's children denied an education.
Things will soon change, Father,
Mary said happily.
We'll build a wonderful school where all the children will have a chance to learn.
After they settled in, Mary took her sisters to see an old tumbled-down building.
A stable?
Lexi said.
Are you sure, Mary? It seems a funny place to start a school.
Of course I'm sure,
Mary said.
A bit of work and it will be as good as new, you'll see.
Soon after, their brother John came to visit and offered to help. He got to work fixing up the old stable. He repaired the walls, floor and roof, and the girls worked together cleaning the building to get it ready for their students. One day, as they worked, a woman came to the door of the new schoolroom.
Excuse me, miss,
she said to Mary. Mary brushed the hair from her face and put down her broom.
How can I help you?
It's just that I heard you were starting a school,
the woman said.
My Matthew here, he can't read or write. I wonder if...
Mary smiled.
A new student! How wonderful!
She said, calling the boy forward and offering him a sweet from the pocket of her apron.
It's just, the
woman stammered.
I can't afford much.
Please don't worry,
Mary said.
This school is for every child. You needn't pay if you can't afford it.
Tears filled the woman's eyes as she thanked Mary.
How will we pay the bills, Mary?
Annie asked after the woman had left.
We have to eat. And there's rent and supplies for the school and...
Mary hushed her.
The Lord will provide, Annie. We will live simply and help will come. You will see.
A few days later, another woman arrived at the stable.
I have come to enrol my son in your school,
she said.
It will be good for him to have a change from his governess, and we will pay you well.
Mary was happy to hear that news of the school was spreading.
But,
the woman continued,
my son must have a space of his own. Perhaps he can sit near the teacher and have screens to keep him apart from the poor children.
We would be glad to have your son,
Mary said.
But our school is open to all children. Everyone is welcome here and everyone will be treated the same.
How ungrateful! I thought you would be happy with my help,
the woman said. Mary was polite but firm. Her school would be for every child, and she would find a way to make it work. That night, Mary and her sisters sat in their little cottage making plans.
We must live simply,
Mary said.
God will provide what we need, and we will do his work by teaching the children.
Finally, the old stable was ready and lessons began. Matthew was joined by other classmates, and the sisters were kept busy teaching the children to read and write. Mary wrote home often to tell her mother of their progress.
My school is growing,
she said,
and I am happy. I'm going to give my life to God and become a nun. Sister Mary of the Cross. Father Woods says other women will join me. We will live like St. Joseph, doing God's work and helping the poor wherever we can.
A year soon passed. The school had grown and a proper building had been built. Now that her first school was doing well, Sister Mary was off to start schools in other places of need. The students and teachers from her school came out to wave Mary farewell. At the front of the line was Matthew, the school's very first student.
Goodbye, Sister Mary,
He called,
and thank you for everything.
As she turned to go, Mary wondered what lay ahead. Would she find teachers for her new schools, and buildings, and books? She looked back, remembering the stable where it had all started not so long ago.
The need is being met.
She said to herself.
I must keep doing what I can and leave the rest to God.
Mary Mackillop had many memorable sayings.